Let me guess, you've been told your whole life to ask good questions, find some common ground, just be a good listener. You follow all the rules, but you still walk away from conversations feeling, kind of drained, unseen, and honestly, a little powerless. What if I told you all that polite advice is exactly why your small talk is failing?
Oh, you know that feeling, right? You ask the standard question, "So what do you do?" And you get a one-word answer that just sucks all the air out of the room. Then you start scrambling, trying to find anything, literally anything you might have in common, and the whole thing just evolves into this awkward job interview. You played by the book, but you still lost. And that's because you've been playing the game without knowing the real rules.
So here's the huge shift in thinking you need to make. The old rules, they're all about connection. But the real rules, the Machiavellian rules, they're about positioning. See, a conversation isn't just a friendly exchange of information. It's a place where you establish control. It's not about being liked. It's about being felt, being remembered, and ultimately being respected. Okay, let's dive into the first secret. Probably the single biggest mistake people make in small talk is just hammering away with questions. Where are you from? What do you do for fun? You're basically turning a conversation into an interrogation. It immediately signals that you're the one chasing information, putting in all the work. And let me tell you, intrigue doesn't come from collecting data points. It dies right there. Just look at this shift. It's subtle, but it's everything. Instead of the boring, predictable question, "Do you like your job?" you notice that little eye roll they do when they mention work. And then you make a calculated observation. You look like you're completely over that. That's not a question, it's a statement that shows you're actually paying attention. You're perceptive, and it forces them to react on a much, much deeper level. All of a sudden, they feel seen.
And this is pure Machiavelli. He nailed it. See, anyone can look at the surface of things. That's easy. But very few can actually touch the reality hiding underneath. So when you make a sharp observation like that, you're proving you're one of the few. You're not just hearing their words, you're reading their entire being. And that right there is an immediate and incredibly powerful move.
All right, let's get into secret number 2. And this one's going to feel a little weird at first. Most of us are terrified of silence, aren't we? We see a gap in the conversation and we just rush to fill it with nervous chatter. But for a Machiavellian thinker, silence isn't some awkward void. It's pressure. It's a weapon. So check out the difference here. Rushing to fill a pause just screams anxiety. It's you surrendering control. But holding that silence for just a beat longer than what feels comfortable, now that is a power move. It projects confidence, a calculating mind. It makes the other person wonder what you're thinking. And more often than not, they'll be the one to rush in and fill that void. And in doing so, they'll reveal their own insecurities.
This is one of the most famous laws of power for a reason. It applies perfectly here. I mean, think about it. When you speak less, every word you do say carries so much more weight. Silence naturally creates a hierarchy. The person who's comfortable just waiting in that silence, they're always in the more powerful position. You're not saying a word, but you're gaining complete control.
So, secret number 3 is all about how you manage your own information. Think of your personal story like currency. If you give it all away too soon, you just seem, common, uninteresting. Powerful people, they impress by saying less. The goal here is to give them crumbs, not the whole loaf of bread. Here's the play-by-play. Someone asks a simple personal question, like, "So, what you do this weekend?" Now, your instinct is probably to give them a full report. Don't. Give them something vague, something a little intriguing, like, "It was restorative." Or maybe, "I got into a bit of necessary trouble." See how those answers just spark the imagination? They don't give data, they offer mystery. And that's the goal right there. You become a puzzle. By holding back, you make your story a scarce resource, and scarcity always creates value. The entire dynamic just flips. Instead of you trying to win them over, now they're the ones subtly working to get your approval and learn more about you. Okay, on to our 4th secret, which is all about creating that spark. Polite conversation is built on just being agreeable. But let's be real. Respect, attraction, those things don't grow from bland agreement. They grow from the dynamic push and pull of tension. And this is where a little bit of subtle provocation is your friend. Just think about it for a second. How many people do you talk to who just smile and nod at everything you say? It's completely forgettable.
The power move is to introduce just a little flicker of tension. Someone states a really common opinion, you can give a little smirk and say, "You don't really believe that, do you?" This shows you have an independent mind. You're not there to just follow the herd, and that makes you way more memorable and a whole lot more interesting.
And now we get to the final, and honestly the most important secret of them all, commanding the frame. This is the master key, I'm telling you. Every single conversation is a battle of frames, and most people give theirs away immediately without even knowing they were in a fight to begin with.
So what even is the frame? Well, it's the unspoken context of everything. It determines who's leading and who's following, who's the prize and who's the one doing the chasing, who's judging and who's the one being judged. When you're just answering questions and trying to get approval, you are operating inside their frame. We are going to flip that on its head.
This is such a perfect example of grabbing control. Someone throws a challenging question at you, like, "Are you nervous?" The weak answer is just no, but a powerful answer reframes the entire situation. The only thing to be nervous about is how unprepared everyone else is. Do you see what just happened? You didn't just answer the question. You asserted your dominance and completely flipped the frame so that now you are the one setting the standard.
So let's recap the weapons in your new arsenal. You're going to use observations to show you have perception, not boring questions. You're going to use silence to apply pressure. You'll use mystery to build your own value. You'll use a bit of playful provocation to create a spark. And above all, you will always command the frame to maintain control.
I want you to remember this. The world is a chessboard, and your words are your pieces. To use them without thinking is to just announce your own powerlessness. True respect, it's never just given to you. It is commanded, often silently. And by applying these principles, you will no longer just be participating in conversations. You will be directing them.